All right, Happy New Year. It is just about 2022 and I'm doing a overall theme for each sign here. So I already posted the first 6 signs. So this is my last video for the remainder 6 signs. And just want to point out that I'm going over like 4 main life categories: love and relationships, and career and money and health. And any of the health issues or things that I bring up are something that you have to go over with your doctor. They're just suggestions and just letting you know which body areas the signs rule over and how the planets can affect those body areas. So none of these things that I say that there's going to be a health issue. It's just to give you more information and for you to go over it with your doctor or health practitioner. And so enjoy the horoscopes. Hey, Libra rising. I did this whole forecast and then realized I wasn't recording. So now I'm doing it again. Okay, so I have this set up to give you a visual, just a general theme. The nodes in January are going to change into Taurus and Scorpio. So for Libra rising, this means finances are highlighted. So personal and others, significant others, resources and finances, and how you're linked to them. Uranus is also here. So that's some disruption. You probably noticed it already. Disruption and how you relate to other people's money, how that's interlinked. So another major theme is Neptune here. It's been in the 6th house for a while. It's going to be here a little bit longer. This is a hidden area of health and also work operations, like day-to-day work duties and kind of the daily work. Career is up here, and yours is ruled by the moon. So the eclipses are always going to be linked to your career path. So a lot of changes that the only constant is change would describe your career in general for you, Libra rising. So I'm going to talk about that. This is just a general overview. Saturn is over here in the 5th house. It's putting some restrictions on your social life and children if you have them. So social life, where you like to have fun, recreational activities. Jupiter just goes into Pisces right at like the very, very end of December this year, and it's going to be there till May. Then it moves in May, it moves into Aries, and it will be here. So now I'm going to talk about that more specifically. Okay, so Libra rising, I'm going to talk about money first. And as I mentioned, the eclipses are tied in there. That's a big emphasis for you this year, is your personal finances and how you relate, if you're independent or dependent on other people's money. The lunar eclipse is going to be especially challenging. And for you, that's going to be in May and November. And you want to think big changes here. So get ready for it. Don't be surprised. It's time to work on it now. Something in your finances you need to let go of. So personal finances, something that's not working, an investment that's not working. Time to make a change. Don't ignore it and get something forced on you. Now, so think of overhaul. So the first half of the year is a little easier, not easy, but easier. It's a time to decide your own limits. So this will be linked. It's going to be linked to your social life or your children, creative projects, because Saturn is sitting there and it's going to square the node, or they can see the node squaring Saturn. Saturn's going to get most of the pressure. It's kind of getting it from two sides. So extra work, extra duty relating to social life or children is just not going to be as fun as usual. In July, it's going to feel more extreme, imbalanced, or disrupted. I'm going to talk about love and relationships now. Venus and Mars rule over the signs that the nodes are in. So Taurus and Scorpio. You can add Pluto in there, but I'm going to talk about Venus and Mars. And so the good thing is they're working together this year. They're conjoining, they're becoming together as one, and they're doing it a couple times. Then they're going to separate, but it's going to be slow as they separate. So the first half of the year is going to be more helpful. And this is going to relate to your love life, because you are ruled by Venus and your opposite signs ruled by Mars. So you and others, the planets ruling that, working together. So that's most of the year. In September, they are going to be in a challenging aspect. It just means an adjustment. But that's like the saving grace of dealing with the eclipses this year, that Venus and Mars, they don't come together like that often. So for meeting new people or just working on improving your relationship, March is a good time. Meeting new people in your social circle, although there still be limits because of Saturn, that's still a good time. And then also May as well is a good time, because Jupiter will move into Aries. It's going to bring like new energy and excitement as far as relationships and dating, and it'll bring opportunities. So take advantage of those times, March into May, because then the last part of the year from October to January, you want to really hold back. Mars is going to go retrograde, and since it rules that Aries house, the other people house, then Mars kind of puts men at a disadvantage. So it doesn't matter what gender you are, but that Mars energy is going to be retrograde, and not a good time for meeting new people. Don't start anything new during this time. So that's October to the rest of the year. So let's talk about career. And career is, as I've mentioned when I was showing the chart, is ruled by Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. So the eclipses are always going to affect your career. The moon's changing all the time. It cycles. And so that's what your career life is, just, you probably have noticed, is cycles and changes. It doesn't stay the same very often. And your career is really linked to your finances more so this year. I mean, obviously they are for everyone, but more so for you this year. So May is a lunar eclipse. That's when the light of the moon is covered up by the sun. So that's a more difficult time anywhere Cancer is in the house. So that's career related for you. November, lunar eclipse. Same thing, but May is more of a letting go. It's figuring out what doesn't work and then saying goodbye. And November is more about trying to increase. It's going to have a tendency to want more, kind of add. So try not to overdo that energy. So just because you want a lot more doesn't always mean it's the right time for it. So I'm just saying that right now is not the time. It's a time to make changes, things that really are beneficial, that are really going to work for you. So for health, Libra rising, that goes back to the Jupiter and Neptune in the 6th house. So Neptune has been there for a while. Jupiter comes in and Pisces. It's going to bring a lot more fluidity, fluid in general in the body, because health is related to that 6th house. It's one of the areas. And it's a hard area to see. Neptune being there makes it a little bit harder. What's nice is Mars is going to come in around the middle of the year, and the Pisces is going to energize and warm and heat up that area. So You want to make sure your fluids are moving. I'm not just talking about water intake, but your oil intake. You want healthy oils that makes you hydrated as well, and your lymphatic system is working well. So if you've never had a lymphatic massage, I highly recommend that during this year, maybe every few months getting one. So the idea is that if your lymph is not stuck, then you're less likely to have problems. You're less likely to get sick too. It's related to your immune system. So Mars being there will make it easier. Also, Mars coming in can help reveal any issues because Mars likes to stimulate and excrete. It likes to bring things up, erupt things. So Mars coming in, if you have any issues that are like unclear, mysterious, hazy, in the middle of the year when Mars is hanging out there, that will help reveal something. So for health, that's it, Libra rising. And I hope this helps you with your overall themes for 2022. And look for my video in January. See you soon. Hey, Scorpio, it's your turn. This is your forecast for the entire year, 2022. And this is going to be a general overview for the entire year, just for you. I'm going to share my screen so you can see the chart. You can see the general placements. So set up for Scorpio, and this is going to be most accurate for Scorpio rising. So what you want to notice here first are nodes. The north and south nodes have changed sign. They changed signs in the middle of January, Taurus and Scorpio. The south node is in Scorpio. So it's affecting you personally here, you as an individual, your personality, your identity, how you appear to other people. So this is you. Over here is other people, specifically significant relationships, romantic or not, and the north node is here. So relationships, your personal relationships are definitely emphasized, and that's going to last for about 1.5 years. The other thing we want to notice here is Saturn, and Saturn has been going through your 4th house, which is your home and family, domestic environment. And it's going to be challenging these nodes during this year. Jupiter is going through 2 signs. It's going to go pretty fast through Pisces until May. So this is your social life, and then it'll go into Aries for a little bit. And this is your health and also your daily work routine, your day-to-day activities at work. Whereas this is your career area. This is more the day-to-day in your job. Here we also have Uranus, which is in the 7th house, the house of relationships. So these two are going to come together during this year. That's significant. So this is like the general layout. And then Mars comes along and it joins up with all these points. It's going to join with the south node. Sorry, here's Mars. It's going to join with Pluto, Saturn. These are the slower moving planets, Jupiter, Neptune, and eventually Uranus. All right, so I'm going to talk about 4 areas of life. That chart was so you can see where everything is traveling, how it's traveling through the chart. And I'm going to talk about money, love and relationships, career, and health. So just talking about this year for Scorpio. For money, it looks pretty good until May. Jupiter is in Pisces during that time, and Jupiter rules your 2nd house or your money house. So Jupiter in Pisces is very happy. So I see that bringing in, it's a good income right there. Now, it changes, Jupiter goes into Aries. So that changes. There's going to be a little bit a different emphasis. The Mercury retrograde is a good time for a review with joint finances. So the timing for review for finances is in May, and there's a Mercury retrograde there. So it's going to trigger, it's going to kind of go back and forth between the house of relationships and the eighth house, which is the income of your significant other or the person you're in a relationship with. The people that you're relating with, your relationships, they might be having some trouble financially. And so that may or may not affect you. But the Mars retrograde that happens at the end of the year, from October to the end of the year into January of 2023, suggests there's difficulty with the people that you know and their finances. So there may be people around you having trouble. It may affect you a little bit. So let's talk about love and relationships. And that's Venus's domain. And Venus is kind of moving with Mars for the first few months of the year. They're kind of coming together, holding hands, and then coming apart, coming together. So they're kind of going together through a couple signs, Capricorn and Aquarius. And Venus is not the happiest one in that relationship. Mars is the one that's probably getting more of its way. So for you, Scorpio, Venus and Pisces going to highlight your social activity, your social life, the things you do for fun. And if you have kids, it'll highlight that area too. But we're talking about love and relationships. So it's a good time to socialize. If you are trying to date, that's a good time in April. And there was, and also the end of May into June is also a good time to work on relationships. Venus will be in Taurus at that time. So Venus going through your house of relationships. That's May and June. So leading up to April, you might feel stuck. And because Uranus is in the 7th house, the people that you are in relationships with, your significant relationships, they may be in upheaval. There may be a lot of disruptions in their lives. And then it gets a little easier with the May and June, Venus and Taurus. Also, Jupiter will be going into Pisces, which I have mentioned already. And that is really good for the social life. So particularly when Venus and Jupiter together are there, that's going to be very beneficial. They're the more fortunate planets. And now on to career. So there's not a lot happening in that area of Scorpio's chart. This year is more about your personal life and your family and things that are more close to home. Not the energy isn't a lot about going out there for a big career path. Like you just have your job, your career, and you're just working on it steadily. Saturn is opposing that area. It's in your area of family. So there may be some pressure at home and family in March and April. So it could be that the family situation is kind of holding back the career. Maybe not. Maybe it's just you're really focused on the family and that's how you want it. So career might feel a little unstable, or maybe you may be having more questions about it in August. That's when things are going to be a little unstable for everyone, but specifically for Scorpio, it's going to relate to family and career. I did write down a couple of months that it's possible to make some progress or headway in the career area, and that's in July and November. And that's when the Sun and Jupiter are working together in a favorable, harmonious energy. So the sixth house and the first house are generally going to describe health issues. And not every year we have health issues. Maybe nothing will come up, but if you have a slower moving planet moving through one of these houses, it's good to know about it. And you have Jupiter in Pisces, Jupiter in Aries going through the sixth house. So Aries is definitely more of a accident prone and headstrong kind of energy. And so with Jupiter there, it can just highlight maybe a tendency to more headaches. No matter, and maybe it's just stress headaches, but just be aware of that. And also it could contribute to more acne, because Aries rules over the head, the brain, eruptions. And then we have Mars going through Aries during the year. So Jupiter will be there, and then Mars will join in. And Mars is the one that can heat things up and make things excrete, leave the body. Mars likes to stimulate and heat and warm and can bring acute conditions. So headaches are still a possibility, not a guarantee, just things to be aware of. And since Mars rules Aries and Mars is going retrograde at the end of the year in Gemini, it's definitely a time to review your lifestyle health choices. So looking at your routine, especially like your health routine and your work routine, because it can relate. So how stressed you are at work can really take a toll on the health. So time to make some changes when that Mars goes retrograde. That's at the end of the year, October, November, December of 2022. Okay, so Scorpio, that is the general themes for the entire year, specifically for you. Come back for January for my forecast. More specifics, more details about what's happening that month. January is a big month for everyone. A lot's going on and those nodes change. So come back for that and have a great 2022. Okay, Sagittarius, it's your turn for 2022. I'm going to talk about love, money, career, health, a little bit of family in there. So I want to give you a little visual of what's going to be happening. First, a little overview, and then I'll be talking a little bit more of the specifics. You'll probably be relieved that these signs are changing here. And they're no longer in Sag and Gemini. They've gone into these fixed signs, Scorpio and South Node, North Node, and Taurus. So this is going to affect a different part of your chart, whereas before it affected you personally and how you present yourself and how you relate to others. It was along here, and so now it's going to be here, these two. So this is the last house, the 12th. This is the 6th. It's going to be affecting more of your day-to-day work life, maybe possible health issues, probably minor ones. And then this is a area of like seclusion and kind of pulling back and reflecting. Another major change is Jupiter is going into Pisces, and it's going to be there for about almost the first half of the year. Jupiter loves to be in Pisces, and it's going to be in this area, the 4th house, which is home and family. Then we have Mars and Venus. They are unusually together this year. They travel this way, and they're going to go through about 3 signs almost together the whole time. This is unusual. It doesn't normally happen like this. Venus will finish its retrograde, meaning it was going backwards, and it's going to hang out with Mars for a little bit. All right, so here are some specifics. So for money, for Sagittarius, that is your 2nd house, and that's ruled by Capricorn. And So this area of your chart is going to have a lot of activity. So this part of your chart would be more active the first half of this year because that Venus and Mars traveling together, they're hanging out together in Capricorn and they're going to move kind of slowly together through there. And there may be more conflict than usual regarding relationships and money, mainly because Mars is a little stronger in this position. They're both in Capricorn, and Saturn rules over Capricorn, so they're kind of at the mercy of Saturn, and that implies more restrictions and limits. So if you like that kind of thing, so then it probably won't be as tough on you. Venus is just going to struggle a little bit. You probably won't be able to indulge as much as usual. And then we have Mercury retrograde. It happens at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. And it spends part of its time in Capricorn on both the beginning and the end of the year. It's not the whole time in Capricorn. So it happens a little bit in January, and then it happens again in December of 2022. So there's a transition. Mercury is going to be changing from air signs to earth signs. So it's going to start out in Aquarius in January. It's going to go backwards back into Capricorn. So that is going to be a review time, strong review time for your personal income, your spending, your limits, things like that. You might feel that your expenses are a lot of kind of mundane, like routine, kind of busy type expenses. They're not like big purchases, but you may just having to spend small amounts of money a lot over just just normal day-to-day things, but just more than usual. Now for love and relationships, and that will be influenced by Gemini. Gemini is on that 7th house cusp, so it's opposite Sagittarius. So Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So all those Mercury retrogrades throughout the year are always going to influence your relationships, any significant relationships. So not just love relationships, but the significant, the ones that are very important to you, especially legal or contracted relationships. So that Mercury retrograde is always a good time for a review, always for you, Sagittarius. Now, Jupiter will go into Aries in your social life, highlighting that. And so there will be a lot of activity there. So it's a good chance to meet people, to get out. This is happening in the second half of the year. So it's not happening right now, thank goodness. So you can be more social later on in the year, probably when it's more safer regarding COVID. So later on in the year, specifically around September, when Mercury is going retrograde in Libra, that's going to highlight your friendship house. So reviewing friendships and also any link they might have to your relationships. So friendships, whether they contribute to your, or whether they're helpful to your personal romantic relationships or not. So the review process would be important there. And Mars is going retrograde in Gemini. So that's going to highlight your 7th house at the end of the year. So around August, Mars goes into Gemini, goes retrograde in October, and it's going to be there for a long time because of that retrograde. So Mars going retrograde is definitely a review of your actions, how you move forward, because you're not going to make a lot of forward gain at this time. So definitely looking at your actions, how you're working on your relationships. That's going to be super important at the end of the year. It's going to last a while, so you won't be able to ignore that one. Think of May as being a precursor because Mercury goes retrograde in Gemini earlier in the year. So think of that as like getting you ready for later in the year and then Mars retrograde. Now for health. And we're going to primarily look at the 6th house for that. And that is where your North Node is. And North Node is kind of a more feeling, a more I want more, take more in feeling. And Taurus is there, and Taurus really likes all the senses to feel, touch, taste, smell. So there could be an overindulgence here. So that's what you primarily want to think of, be aware of, uh, asking yourself, checking yourself, are you going too far? Maybe you need to pull back a little bit. Um, you can use the other side of it, the south node in your 12th house. That is an area of reflection, seclusion, and letting go or eliminating. And since Scorpio is the sign that it's in, that works well. They work well together because Scorpio rules over the detoxification system, the elimination system, the colon, so getting rid of things. So it's the perfect combination here, Taurus and Scorpio, checking what comes in and then really paying attention of how the quality of it coming out. So look at this as a chance to focus on what needs purging, um, and purging to improve your health. Specifically, what do you need to get rid of to make your health better? Even if there's nothing wrong here, even if you have no complaints, chances are you could probably improve a little bit. I know everyone I know can do that for sure. So I want you to use this purging idea to embrace change, like use that as a trigger to change something. The nodes being in these 6th and 12th houses means the eclipses are happening in these areas. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes they bring a big change. So you want to be ready for it and already maybe doing it, already working on it by the time these eclipses come around. You don't want to be forced into anything here. Just know that you're going to have to let go of something to make you feel better or be better. So come back for my January forecast for 2022. It'll be an overview for the month and what you need to keep in mind specifically for the month. This 2022 horoscope kind of gives an overview of the general themes for each sign. And I look forward to seeing you again. See you soon. Hey Capricorn, it's your turn for the year 2022. We're going to go over what's going on in your chart, and this will be most accurate for Capricorn rising. So I have it set up that way. Here's the sun. We're basically looking at all of this on the second ring here. Those are the planets actually moving throughout 2022. And so we're going to talk about love, relationships, money, career, and health. And so I'm going to go through the chart and explain what's happening. So let's talk about money first. So that's this area here. It's the sign right after Capricorn, which is Aquarius. And so you've had Saturn here for a little, like over a year already. So you just may be feeling those limits and restrictions money-wise. This is a really good time to really stick to a budget. If you don't have one, you should get one now. This is going to be here for another year and a half about. So it's better to have it here. You had it here for a while, but now it's here. And budget and structure is what Saturn likes. So definitely want to stick to some structure. The main challenge I see for the year is in March and April, and when Saturn is squaring South Node and North Node. So when these numbers are going to get to about 22, 23 at the same time Saturn does, and they'll create these challenging squares to the nodes. So Saturn is going to feel the pressure pretty much. So there may be just a tightening of budget here. That's the main thing for the money house. And now we're going to talk about love and relationships. And so here is 7th house. Not a lot going on in the house, but because Cancer is ruling over that, The lunar eclipses can affect romantic, well, actually any significant relationship here. It can be business too. So we always have at least two lunar eclipses every year. And the lunar eclipses are in May and November. So that just means that's a time for possible change. The eclipses are happening here where the nodes are, because when the sun and moon get close to these points, it creates an eclipse. But since the moon rules over Cancer, then the lunar eclipses have a much more power over your relationship sector. So next thing I want to go over is Uranus here, and it's in the house of social activities, social life, recreational fun type of things. And it's going to be here for a while. It's just a planet of disruption, change, surprises, unexpected outcomes. So just a definitely more unusual social life than normal. And with the eclipses being here, there's the most change is going to be happening socially, or also this is the area of children. So in case you have children, could be affecting their routines, could be some change there. And so this is the house of friendships. So these are your friends, and this is over here what you do with your friends. So these are the highlighted areas. So big change just means be prepared in these areas. Don't ignore it so that nothing gets forced on you. Know that there may be a friendship or social activity that just doesn't work for you anymore. And, looking at your own chart, you'll be able to know like the timing of that. So I can tell you that I already told you the lunar eclipses, and now the solar eclipses are September and April. So there's always one eclipse, and then 2 weeks later, there's another eclipse, and they come in pairs every 6 months. So for this year and a half, these are the areas that are highlighted. So that can affect dating. It can affect your your significant relationships. That's why I bring that up here. The summertime is when family relationships are going to be more important, because Jupiter will go into Aries around May, the end of May, and so it's going to go through here. So Jupiter brings attention, and it can be fortunate things too, like some opportunities for family issues to come up, or just spending more time with your family. So that's that for relationships. Let's talk about career. So that's up here. And you can see there's no major slow moving planet up here right now, but Venus rules over the sector for you Capricorn. And Venus, right now, as I record this at the end of 2021 and going forward into January, February, Venus is in Capricorn. So I would say there's a lot of attention on you, Capricorn, right now, into February. Right now, we have the sun here, because this is dated this is the end of January 24th. And so the sun has moved on, but right now, and in the beginning of January, sun is here, Venus is here, and then Mars at the end of January moves in here. So just a lot of focus on you related to your career. Maybe you're reviewing things about your career that you've been wanting to change for a while. Venus retrograde, that's how it would affect you. Mars bringing activity. Mars likes to be in Capricorn. It gets a lot done. It likes to move and stir things up. And when it's in Capricorn, it's more structured and grounded. So at the end of January, that's when more action can be taken for your career. Last thing here, when Venus turns around and it goes forward and it comes back and it joins up with Pluto, at that point, maybe something hidden about your work or your career may pop up here. It could be a personal thing as well, but Venus coming up here, that's going to happen in March. All right, so a lot of focus on you right now, Capricorn. Now let's go on to health. So we're going to primarily look here and talk about Gemini and Mercury, because Mercury rules Gemini. So Mercury retrograde Mercury retrograde time periods are perfect for you, Capricorn, to review health routines. So it happens at least 3 times a year. And we have one that starts out in Gemini in May. So May, Mercury will be here and it's going to go backwards and going to stay here for a couple of months. So that in May is super important for you to review health routines and look at, supplements you're taking, any physical therapy you might need. That's when you want to review that here. So speaking to Gemini here and the body parts that it rules, it's super important for you, Capricorn, to take care of your lungs and working on breath control, and also having anxiety managed. And Gemini rules the hands, arms, and shoulders. So keeping strong shoulders, keeping your hands working if arthritis is an issue at all, because it could be for Capricorn. Making sure you take care of that. Look at alternative or holistic remedies for arthritis, because there are things out there. So these are just some suggestions. It doesn't mean anything is going to happen, but when you have Gemini here, whatever sign you have here, those are the body areas you want to make sure you take care of health-wise. Just one more thing about Gemini, and just it's more prone to respiratory illnesses. So the flu, COVID, things like that. You definitely just want to keep everything functioning really well. Take care of those lungs, breath control, exercising those lungs, right? Cardio works those lungs, works your heart. So you get a lot of benefits from regular exercise. Okay. All right, Capricorn. So that was the year for you. And come back for my January overview. I'll give more specifics that are going on and helpful tips on that specific month. I'll see you soon. Hey, Aquarius, it's your turn for the year 2022. We're going to generally talk about the whole year and what the main themes are for you. We're going to talk about money and career, love and relationships, and health. And let's clarify, this is going to be most accurate for Aquarius rising. And that's how I have it set up. We're not going to use this inside chart here. We're just going to use the outside. And let's talk about the money house, the money section. So that's this over here. And it's ruled by Pisces. So what's really nice is Jupiter has just gone into Pisces at the end of December. Jupiter in Pisces, and it's going to last until May. Then it will go into Aries, and then we'll come back to Pisces for the last couple of months. So we had a little taste of it last summer for a couple of months, and this time is unusual. It goes back and forth. Jupiter goes back and forth, so it doesn't spend its entire sequential 12 months in Pisces. It's kind of broken up into pieces. So Jupiter usually brings benefits, fortune. So most likely income will go up. What I want to point out is that Jupiter is coming along and it's going to join up with Neptune. That's happening around April. And so that just means you should be aware of getting caught up in any kind of fantastic ideas, not getting too idealistic, trying to ground yourself with all of these ideas about improving your finances or any financial opportunities. You want to get a clear picture of how you want to grow your income. So Jupiter is definitely growth and it can grow your income. You just have to be careful when it joins up here. Now let's talk about love and relationships. And that's this section over here. This is you, Aquarius, and then so that's you personally, and then these are other people, how you relate. And Leo is the ruler, and the sun is the ruling planet of the sign Leo. So the sun is something you want to pay attention to if you want to know more about your relationships, your significant relationships. Like friendships are over here, but super important, especially contractual relationships, legal types of relationships like marriage and business partnerships are going to be over here. And so, because Leo is the ruling sign here, it's going to be linked to the solar eclipses more than it would for other people. Wherever Leo is in your chart, you want to be aware of where the solar eclipses are happening. So the solar eclipses happening this year are April and September. And they're actually highlighting this part of your chart. So your relationships are definitely going to be linked to your career and your family here. These nodes here, that's how you know where the eclipses are going to happen. The nodes are an intersection point of the orbits of Earth's orbit and the moon's orbit. So solar eclipses can bring change. Sometimes it's something you're working on and it happens over a period of time. Sometimes it's a little bit more sudden, but just be aware of that. The solar eclipses are always going to be linked to your relationship house. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about Uranus over here. This is the family section, home, domestic situations. So because of the eclipse is happening here, and this is going to join up with Uranus, and it's linked to your relationships. Probably the summertime is when you're going to have a lot more focus on family. There may be some disruption, then something unexpected things you'll have to deal with here in the summer. This energy of this north node, uh, it's opposite of the south node. So this north node energy is more, it is a more energy, meaning I want more, get more, consume more. And so combining this with the kind of upsets and disruption, there will definitely be issues to come up in the family area. So since we are talking about the eclipses and the nodes, let's talk about career. So all the fixed signs here are going to be dealing with kind of the most important key life areas. Um, these are the first, the fourth, the seventh, the 10th. These these parts of the chart kind of represent the most key areas of life. Um, your career, your love, your you and your money. And this is the income to you and your family. So these key areas are triggered for all fixed signs. So it's Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus. And for career, the South Node is here. And so there is something to look at as far as getting rid of. Something in the career path is not working. Something needs to be changed. Something has to be let go. So that's what you're going to be working on for a year and a half, because this sign just changed. It's changing in January. So it hasn't happened yet, but it's about to in the middle of January. Mars is the ruler over this section of your house, section of your chart. And so we want to look at that and how that's progressing through the year. So Mars is coming through here when it gets to Aquarius, which is around April. So when Mars comes around here and gets to Aquarius around April, that's going to be more emphasis on you. You already got Saturn here, and this is going to be here for a long time. So this coming around to here is linked to your career. So there'll be a lot of focus on you and your career for a couple of months, coming up here, April, May. Now Mars is going to come along. It's gonna go through your money house. That'll keep the action going. It's going to come into here and cause a lot of activity. And of course, when it comes over here, it'll activate your family. At the end of the year, it's going retrograde in Gemini in this area here. So Mars rules the career house. So that's why I'm talking about it. So when Mars is going to be here, it's going backwards and it's going to stay in Gemini for a long time. So there may be some kind of connection here with your, if you have children, could be your children, or it could be your social life, your social recreational activities, any creative projects are going to be linked to this. And so Mars retrograde is a time to always rehash and review. And you're going to have plenty of time to work with this. So it can cause a lot of tension and conflict, but can be worked with. Gemini is an adaptable sign. It's what we call a mutable sign. So it can change, it can go slow, fast. It can work with other signs more than the others. Now we come to this health area, the main health area. We're also going to look at the first a little bit because this is the physical body, but these are the issues that come up in the body, and it's ruled by Cancer. And so, like I was talking about the eclipses and your relationships, the lunar eclipses are going to be linked to your health. So the lunar eclipses are in May and November of this year. So those are times to be aware. You want to think that Cancer is also rules the stomach and digestion. So that's the key. Those are the key words for health for Aquarius, is watching your digestion, making sure that you're breaking down food. If you have any issues, if you might maybe just look at food sensitivities, that's up to you. Always check with your doctor on these kinds of things. But just to know, the body areas are mainly the stomach and the chest here with Cancer. And just keeping in mind, since Saturn is in the first, and that's the physical body, and Saturn stays here a long time and it likes to restrict and contract things. So just having an awareness that Saturn likes structure, the progress that you are making with your body, whether it's an exercise, losing weight, or getting more sleep, it's going to be a slow and steady process here. It's not going to happen overnight. Saturn slows things down, but it also makes you much more deliberate in what you do. So think of this as the physical body. And you can see Mercury is retrograde during January. So it goes retrograde here, and that's the perfect time to really assess their physical body. It's going to go retrograde, and then it's going to go back into here, and then it's going to go forward again through here again. So you get a couple of chances with Mercury in Aquarius. So this is linked to health and the 6th house over here. So that is the year 2022 for you, Aquarius. I hope you have a great year. Come back and see my January video, which talks more specifics on that month, but for all of the signs. See you then. Hey Pisces, it's your turn for 2022 horoscope. And I'm going to talk about this chart, and we're going to look at everything on the outside, the second wheel, not the inner wheel. This is set up for Pisces, and it's going to be most accurate for Pisces rising. And so first thing I want to do is point out the lunar nodes. This is where the eclipses are going to happen. And this is new for January. So right around the 23rd of January, the signs, the nodes, the lunar nodes are going to change position. So it takes about 1.5 years for them to go through a house or section of your chart. And it highlights two different opposite energies here. You just dealt with it in your career sector and your family area. And now it's going to be in an area that it's going to make you a little bit more busy, doing a lot of busy work, staying really active and doing a lot of busy work. You may not feel like you get a lot accomplished, but you're always going to be working on something. So the eclipses happen here, and that just means sometimes they can bring some change. You could be building up to it. You might already know what it is, but it's these areas here are the 9th and the 3rd. Those are the houses. This area is like the big picture kind of stuff, dealing with foreign energies, foreign people, foreign travel, higher learning, foreign information or foreign knowledge. And this area here is more local knowledge, your local neighborhood routine and commuting. And you can see already you have Uranus here, and it's a slow moving planet. So you already have this here, and now the North Node is coming into here. So this is going to create a busyness, and when these two join up later in the year, it's going to bring probably some unexpected outcomes. I don't think it'll be like too life-changing. This area of the chart is not usually as dramatic as the one it just came out of right here. But the South Node over here, hanging out in a 9th house, suggests a letting go or eliminating of some foreign knowledge. It could be something about your belief system or your philosophy about life. Something needs to change or be let go of. And it's just better to be prepared and to know that this change is coming instead of trying to fight it. And so just be ready for some type of change. The next thing I want to bring up is the Pisces house, the first house for you. Jupiter is going to spend about 5 months here. And then Mercury and the Sun and Venus and Mars are going to make their way down to here. So it's just going to really highlight this first house. It's going to highlight you, Pisces, as an individual. You'll be getting a lot of attention. And so that's going to relate to your career. So the 4 main areas I want to talk about for each horoscope is money, career, love and relationships, and health. So this Jupiter brings us over here because it rules Sagittarius. And you can see we're at the tail end of January and Mars is just about to leave here. So right now, so it's the beginning of January. So for a few weeks, Mars is going to energize and get you working on your career path. So that's kind of kicking off the year. Jupiter here, and now it's really going to bring attention to you and what you're doing relating to your career. It's going to bring opportunities to you. Think of it that way. So it's a good year to work on your career path, making sure you have some goals, like a 2-year goal, 5-year goal, that kind of thing. Later on in the year, Jupiter will conjunct Neptune. So that's the week of March 20th. I'm going to bring that up here. So here you can see Jupiter is getting really close. Mercury is here. Mars and Venus are not far behind. And so this is bringing attention. This is what I was talking about, the attention. And it's nice to have Mercury here because it can add some clarity, your thinking processes. You're going to be thinking a lot about the attention you're getting, what you're doing with yourself, and especially relating to career. So what I suggest is not getting carried away with all the ideas and fantastic opportunities. So using Mercury, trying to get clear this week, March 20th, that week, get clear on what you really want to bring about for yourself and your career, because Neptune can make things kind of hazy. You may feel very inspired, but you might be also kind of confused as well. Jupiter tends to inflate things. So the idealism may be a little bit too big. Now let's talk about money. And so that's this area here. And Aries is the sign. So Aries season, whenever spring starts, that's a good time for you to look at your income, your spending, and if you're staying on a budget. We don't have any of the slower moving planets activating this right now, but Aries is ruled by Mars. So this year you're going to pay attention to what Mars is doing. And like I mentioned before, Mars goes into Pisces, going to activate this, and that's also going to help with the career. And then Mars will move along and it come into Aries. So that's going to be in May, the end of May. We can see Mars is just about to go into here. And also Jupiter is going to go in here. So that's also going to be helpful. It could be more income coming in, but it could mean more spending as well. So that's why I got to look and review the budget. Venus is here, so that's also helpful. These are two pretty beneficial planets, more fortunate planets, and they're both in here for a short time. So that does bring some good fortune. And then you got Mars coming in. So Jupiter will be here until October. So no, from May to October, really keep a rein in on spending, but try to increase your income. Now I want to bring up Mars at the end of the year. It's going to move along and it's going to come to Gemini here. It's going to spend a long time in Gemini. I'm going to bring that up. So here we are in October. August is when Mars comes into here. This is the fourth house of family, home, domestic situations. But I'm bringing it up here because in October, it's going to go retrograde. It's going to go backwards. So right around here at the end of Gemini, it's going to slow down and come all the way back. So it's going to spend a lot of time here, all the way until I believe it's April of 2023. So that's quite a few months here. Mars is here. And because it rolls over your income house, your personal finances and resources, this is the time to really really make a new budget, really review spending and how it relates to your family here. So it could be siblings, could be parents, could be children, but your family spending here. So October to January is the retrograde period, the backwards motion. Let's talk about relationships now. So that's this area here. It's opposite you, Pisces. So the ways of relating, significant relationship, you look to the opposite of you, other people. So that's here. Could be romantic or business. Right now, we are talking about romantic relationships. And you can see September, the Virgo season is highlighted for your relationship area. And that's for every year. And this year we have Venus in Virgo also going through here. This is a good time to work on relationships. So that is, that's most of September. What I want to point out is Mercury rolls over Virgo. So most people know about the Mercury retrogrades that happen every year, 3 or 4 times a year. Every time that happens for you, it's a good time to review. This is Mercury, review relationships or relating. All right, so here it is in September. It's retrograde in Libra. It's just to go back. It's about to go back into Virgo, and it's going to come back and spend a little time here. So chance for review, redo, rehash, reevaluate those relationships. So the September one is most significant because it rules Virgo, it rules this section, and it's actually in that section. So the other Mercury retrogrades are in January. It's coming up soon in the beginning of the year, and May, and then December, plus the September. So all of those Mercury retrogrades are good for reevaluating relationships. One thing I want to bring up is the Venus is also going to oppose Neptune here. So this is staying here for a long time. It's slow moving. And you can see right around here, this 23 Venus is just about to oppose Neptune. Sun has already. Mercury is going to come back and oppose it. So with Venus here, it's a good time to help improve relationships, but it's definitely going to take some work. It's not going to be easy. You have all three of these opposite this right here. So there may be some lack of communication or some ideals that are not being communicated, some fantastic ideal romantic situations not being communicated. So just be aware of that. And that is happening September 15th to October 5th. Now on to health, and that's this area here. It's also a little bit of the first, but we're going to start here. And there's no major planets going through here, but we do have an opposition of Saturn to anything that does go through here. And this section is ruled by Leo, and that means the sun has dominion over this area. So the sun links to the eclipses, and every 6 months we get eclipses. We get a solar eclipse, a lunar eclipse, and the solar eclipse will have the most effect on your health. So it could be minor. This is definitely doesn't mean anything major, could be a minor health thing, but we all have to think about our health. It's something on a day-to-day basis. So what I also want to point out is because Jupiter in the first half of the year up to May is hanging out over here, the effect on Pisces health, because Jupiter rules Pisces, it will tend to highlight the lymphatic system and the immune system. So that's the good time to really stay clean and stay strong with your immunity. So those are the specifics that you want to look at for your health up until these are the specifics you want to pay attention to for the first half of the year. And then Jupiter goes here, and it's not so personal anymore. It's when Jupiter is here in Pisces, it's more health related. Because sixth house here is because the sixth house is dealing with anything opposite Saturn. So July and August, when there are planets in Leo, that's when they're going to oppose Saturn. I'm going to bring that up. So this is Sun and Leo, Mercury is there. So when these start to move along, they get to something around the 23, it's going to oppose Saturn. So energy just may be a little lower. The sun is our vitality, and Saturn likes to dampen things. And then Venus in a few weeks will come along and also oppose Saturn here. So when Venus is here, that will probably be in August to September. That's when you want to watch indulgences. Okay, so these planets go through, Mercury, Venus, and Sun go through this section every year around this time. It happens every year. So it just so happens to be opposing Saturn for you for this year. Well, and next year, because Saturn moves slowly. And so it's there for another year and a half. So I hope this is helpful for 2022 Pisces. And if you want to know more specifically about your chart, then we can do a reading and come back in January. Well, come back soon. I'm about to put up the overview for January for all the signs. Happy New Year.